What is a moment? The dictionary defines it as a specific point in time. But in physics, a moment is a turning effect produced by a force acting at a distance on an object. They say this is our moment.
Together, we stand. Together, we stand.
Our time. But the truth is, this moment started a long time ago by women who refused to be told no, refused to accept injustice, and refused to fail. By women who demanded equal say, equal play, and of course, equal pay.
We're fighting for the bigger picture. We might not get it today, but we want the future to be better.
When there was no road, strong women paved one through their courage, leadership, and sacrifice. Some of their names are known.
Leslie, what's she gonna do? She does it! For the first time in WNBA history!
Others not so much, but we know all of them made this possible. And those moments created this movement. Amidst the chaos and uncertainty, women have stepped up to the challenge, unwilling to be denied. When they tell us to shut up, we speak up.
We have decided it's important to take a stand and raise our voices.
With voices so loud and so powerful, they have no choice but to listen.
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
And some of us even put our careers on hold to address the issues facing our nation.
We care about this community, and we're a part of this community.
When they wouldn't say Black Lives Matter, we did. When they wouldn't say her name, or say his name, or her name, we did. And we didn't stop. And we won't stop until justice prevails. We are at the forefront of every movement, in sports and in life.
Well, the day I stop fighting for equality and for people that look like you and me will be the day I'm in my grave.
Even when we stand, we know when to kneel. Even when we lose, we find the strength to heal. All around the world, women are showing our power. This is bigger than sports. This is about everyone, past, present, and future. They say this is our moment. The truth is, this has always been our moment because we have always been here fighting for what's right and fighting for equality. We speak with our hearts. We speak with our voice. We speak with sport.
I'm not just here to be the token female. I'm here to help us win.
I feel like I'm a vessel at this point in order to spread awareness.
I hope that women around the world know that they can do anything.
Good evening and welcome to the 2020 Women's Sports Foundation's annual salute to women in sports. I'm your host, Laila Ali. Now you may know me as a world champion boxer or a television host, but your kids probably know me as the panda on Masked Singer, which was the only time in my professional career that I was robbed of a title. Tonight we celebrate the most accomplished women and leaders in sports and the girls they inspire. And for the first time in the history of this event, we're coming to you virtually. That's right, this broadcast is being streamed to millions of homes, computers, and smartphones by our good friends at Yahoo Sports, who have teamed up with the WSF to produce this incredible show featuring all of the amazing women and girls around the world who are loudly and proudly using their voices. We're also joined by some very special MVPs, gold medalists, World Cup champions, and an Academy Award winner. We'd like to thank our presenting sponsors, Athleta, ESPNW, Gatorade, NBC Sports Group, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Yahoo Sports for their generous support. Over the next hour, we'll celebrate the courageous players of the WNBA, an advocate who has used his voice to uplift women in football, a barrier-breaking corporate executive, and a special salute to 9 women who redefined professional sports and pay equality. For nearly 50 years, the Women's Sports Foundation has advanced the lives of girls and women. And for nearly 50 years, this foundation has continued to play a role in the fight for racial, gender, and LGBTQ+ equality, and to ensure accessibility as a human right. We do all of this because we are aware of the intersectional identities of those we serve and the importance to advocate for all girls, all women, all sports. If I had to pick one word to describe 2020, it would be disappointing. It's disheartening to see all of the lives that have been affected by COVID-19. And it's discouraging to know that even at this very moment, our nation is still struggling to address discrimination that has persisted for far too long. For 8 minutes and 46 seconds, we watch in horror as George Floyd was taken from this earth. And we still long to see justice served for Breonna Taylor. These names represent just 2 lives from the hundreds of years of inequality and injustice that Black and brown people have endured in this country. Now, 2020 may be disappointing, but this year has also been inspiring. Through an unprecedented global pandemic, social unrest, natural and unnatural disasters, people around the globe have come together to say enough is enough and to proudly proclaim that Black lives matter. When I think of my inspirations, of course, I think of my father, Muhammad Ali. He sacrificed so much more than anyone should have to in his quest for equality. But he didn't think that equality applied to the boxing ring. When I first decided to box, my father was not supportive. He tried to talk me out of it. He said, boxing is a man's sport. But once he saw how dedicated I was to the craft and how much work I was willing to put into being a champion, and once that I proved to him that I was truly a fighter, he became one of my biggest fans. When I entered the ring, my goal was not to be the Muhammad Ali of boxing, it was to be the Laila Ali of boxing. And 24 wins and 5 belts later, I can happily say I did that. My story is similar to so many other women and girls out there who continue to embody the ideals of the Women's Sports Foundation as we speak with sport. And we pledge to not stay silent in the coming days, weeks, years, or however long it takes. Rumble, young girl, rumble. We need your help so more girls can reach their potential through sport, and would appreciate your generosity tonight. So if you would like to make a donation, simply text WSF to 91999 or visit womensportsfoundation.org. You can also bid in our online auction by visiting charitybuzz.com/WSF. We start our show with a look behind the scenes of how an inner-city rugby program is teaching a group of young women to persevere on and off the pitch.
People ask me all the time, like, oh, you play rugby? Like, are you sure? Like, you're so small. And I'm like, yes, because I can.
This program has provided an opportunity for these kids in these marginalized communities to play a sport that they've never played, to probably play a sport that they've never even heard of.
The vision was to create a really impactful footprint in the South Los Angeles community, and that would involve huge amounts of leadership development and opportunities in a predominantly underserved area.
You take a group of youth and you open them up to opportunities and give them the opportunity to excel, they'll excel.
We're here, you deserve that attention, we're fighting for that attention. We're gathering an audience because this is something you want to see.
I love the partnership with the Women's Sports Foundation. It's aligned with our mission, developing leadership, providing opportunities, and empowering young girls.
I step on me, I step on 3. 1, 2, 3. I step!
My name is Nia Tolliver. I started playing in middle school. I went to an ISF middle school, and I had previously been homeschooled, so it was like my first time in a school environment too. So rugby kind of gave me that niche community that was welcoming and accepting to me because I was a bit weirder when I was younger.
When you watch her play, you can't take your eyes off her. This could be an Olympic journey. She's grown as a rugby player, but that was always going to happen.
You've got to rely on her.
My name is Stuart Crone. I'm the director of rugby.
Coach Crone, he's going to tell you the truth. You know, he doesn't care how old you are.
I think the biggest way that she's grown is her ability to self-reflect. She would flare up, like her emotions were stirred, and she would react.
It was hard to hear those truths about myself, I guess, right? And like face them and try to work past them.
My name is Lisa Finnegan, and I also coach with the incredible rugby program, ISEF Rugby. Our girls develop this incredible sense of resilience and grit, and then that transfers into other areas of their lives.
A lot of the girls gravitate to Lisa. She's mission driven. She's a natural mentor, and I just think she's a great role model for the girls.
The international travel component of the program provides a powerful experience for students. They develop far greater levels of respect and appreciation for a diversity of people and places.
My name is Denise Fernandez. I was able to go on 3 international tours during my high school career. At Berkeley, I think it just helped me to be more open to meeting new people and just like being ready for the culture shock that I was gonna have moving into a dorm, or like being on campus and not seeing another Black person for hours at a time.
I guess now my whole MO is like to inspire people with the sport. Like we can bring that attention awareness, especially to the women's side of things.
Showing your leadership on the field, making those tackles, sprinting when you have nothing else in the tank, and then that in effect transfers to life. I'm excited for the future of ISEF Rugby and the ISEF Leadership Academy. I'm blessed that I can use my gifts to contribute to that legacy.
The Women's Sports Foundation support has been tremendous. Several of our alumni are back coaching with us now. These young adults and Lisa will be managing the program themselves and taking it in directions that I couldn't even imagine. And hopefully 2021 Tokyo, Nia Tolliver is on the field with USA playing sevens, fighting for a medal. If she is, I will be in the stands.
I think that we all have it within us, and I think that sports are a great way to unlock your character that's deep down inside. Cron says that all the time. He's so big on character, us becoming the best versions of ourselves.
Just amazing. In 2014, the WSF and ESPNW co-founded the Sports for Life program, and since that time has awarded $1.5 million to over 160 organizations, reaching 60,000 girls through 34 different sports. While tonight is a celebration of all the amazing women in sports, we're honoring a few of them with some well-deserved hardware. Let's start with our first award of the evening. The foundation presents the Wilma Rudolph Courage Award to the athlete who reflects the determination and spirit of Wilma Rudolph, a woman who overcame poverty, polio, and debilitating setbacks to become the fastest female on the planet. If 2020 has taught us anything, it's that we are all stronger together. That's why tonight's award goes to a group of players instead of just one person. Legendary player and coach Dawn Staley narrates this powerful tribute.
On March 13th, 2020, 26-year-old Breonna Taylor, an African-American emergency medical technician, was fatally shot by 3 Louisville police officers when they entered Taylor's home and opened fire. There was no immediate disciplinary action taken upon the officers involved in the shooting. This sparked demonstrations and protests throughout the country. The players of the WNBA decided to take action and speak out on racial injustice for all people of color.
Most players agreed that not playing today was the option. We're not just trying to make a statement today, we're trying to also figure out what actionable items can come out of this. Because we stand in solidarity with our brethren, but with our platform, there's so much more that we feel that we can do to really create some serious change. But I think that still speaks to the metaphor of what we dedicated this season to, Say Her Name, how women are often forgotten. It speaks to the identity that we've always had as WNBA players, standing in unity and really amplifying our voices to foster change.
When I first learned that the WNBA was dedicating their whole season to the Say Her Name campaign, I wasn't shocked. The women's players have always been there when it's time to advocate for something, but they're usually first. They're usually the people who lead it, and they don't always get enough credit for that specifically being the first ones. And they don't care about the politics of it. They don't care about anything of it. They'll just go ahead and do it.
So after the players decided not to play that night and take a pause, it was a powerful display, I thought, of unity on national television. And we actually left the broadcast courts after the players had decided not to play and gathered for a really quickly put together but unbelievable candlelight vigil. It was really moving. And think about this. It was really historic to be able to bring an entire league together in one place. And I actually told them that I see in them the next generation of leaders.
I fight for racial equality because I want that next generation to feel the same way. I want my nieces, my nephews, my daughter to know that they can do and be and dream to be anything they want to be, and they're not going to be held back because of their race or because of their gender.
In the words of Martin Luther King Jr., the ultimate measure of a person is not where one stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where one stands in times of challenge and controversy.
Accepting tonight's Wilma Rudolph Courage Award on behalf of the players of the WNBA is Laisha Clarendon of the New York Liberty. Presenting the award is 9-year-old Camilla Pepper Pursley. If you haven't heard of this rising star reporter, she's been interviewing WNBA players and coaches since she was 6 years old, and based on her game, she'll probably be starting in the league one day as well. Take it away, Pepper.
Well, hi, Laisha, and congrats to you and the WNBA for winning the Women's Sports Foundation Wilma Rudolph Courage Award. I am so excited to be interviewing you today, and again, congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
What does winning the Women's Sports Foundation Wilma Rudolph Courage Award mean to you and the WNBA?
Man, it means a lot. I mean, obviously, we love to win in our league, so as athletes, anytime we win an award, a trophy you see in the background that we can, put on our stand at home, it means a lot. But particularly to win an award that isn't about shooting a basketball or playing between the lines is important, because what Wilma Rudolph stands for is literally what the word is in the award, is about courage. And so much of what we've done about this season has been the courage to stand up for other people, to stand up for other Black women, to stand up for people who have been victims of police brutality.
What does the 2020 season mean to you, and what are you hoping to accomplish with this season dedicated to Say Her Name, social justice, and Black Lives Matter?
The 2020 season has meant a lot to me. Obviously, we dedicated it to the Say Her Name campaign. So first and foremost, it was that so many Black women that names don't get said, who go forgotten, whose stories just literally don't get told. There's so many Black women's stories that I don't know about as a Black woman because they get buried. They don't get the news coverage they deserve. They definitely don't get the justice they deserve. And so a big success coming out of this season was the fact that we could partner with the African American Policy Forum and truly highlight these women.
What is it like for you to be a part of a league that is willing to stand together, united for change?
Oh, that's a good one. It means a lot to me, actually, and particularly that's a league full of women, non-binary people, umbrella term for women, that stand together when we're sold so many narratives about women, that they're catty, that they're petty, that they don't get along, that they drag each other down. And you see that with our league, that we're not that. We stand together. We can stand for something bigger.
I'll say it again and again and again. The unity in which the WNBA portrays while doing all of this work is the most inspiring and the best part about it. How do you hope what the league is doing will inspire and affect young people like me to find their voices?
I hope what we're doing inspires so many young people to realize they have a voice. Seeing you on here just gives me so much joy that you're covering the WNBA, that you know our stories, that you're involved. It's like seeing what the next generation is going to bring from a grassroots level, that you are the future. And so in the same way that I've gotten this league passed down to me from the greats of Rebecca Lobo and Tamika Catchings and Tisha Pinachero, and Sue's still in the league, kind of passing the baton. That's our hope, is that we pass that down, that I'm watching you in the league making a ton of money, playing one day when I'm at home with my kids, getting a lot older, that we just inspire you all to pick up the baton, because we're handing it to you, and a lot of young people have their hands out and they're ready and they're waiting for someone to pass it down. And I hope that's what we're doing by inspiring you all to see that it doesn't matter who tells you you don't belong, that you're not the right makeup or fit or gender or sex or any of the things that you shouldn't be, is that you take that seat at the table, or you flip the table over and get your own table, because that's what we're seeing with the young people, is that we aren't just sitting back and waiting. We're ready to take over the world.
Well, thank you for doing this interview. Thank you for doing what you're doing. You truly do deserve this award. Thank you for those words. Thank you for, there's so much to be thankful of the WNBA for doing. That's why I wear this hoodie. That's why I do this work. And I know that's why you won this award. So thank you so much.
Thank you for interviewing me. I was excited when I heard it was you. I had no idea at first. So this was a treat again to get on with you. I appreciate it.
Once again, congratulations to the players of the WNBA on receiving this year's Wilma Rudolph Courage Award. We will continue to say Breonna Taylor's name until justice prevails. We're going to take our first time out of the night, but as we head to the break, I want to remind you that the Foundation's work would not be possible without the support of great partners and donations from you, our viewers across the globe. Every gift makes a difference. We'll be right back.
Have you always wanted to watch sports on your cell phone? Highlights. Headlines. You already got it all, records and everything.
No, I gotta win at least 7. Tom has 6.
And guest stars.
You watching The Rush.
Yahoo has you covered every day.
The award-winning Fantasy Football Live is back for its 15th season, every Sunday morning at 11:30 a.m. Eastern.
Growing up in gymnastics, I didn't really see anybody who looked like me.
When I entered the sport of figure skating at 5 years old, it was all about fun, all about play, and I really didn't think about race being a factor in it at all.
Just traveling throughout the world, I started noticing that the world saw people different and tried to put people in boxes just because of the way that they looked.
I remember at Olympic trials, we were doing press interviews, and I'm kind of listening in and hearing like, how does it feel? You finally made the Olympics, and different kind of all the questions that you would assume happen after making a team. But for mine, I kept getting, so you're the first U.S. Latina in over 30 years to make an Olympic team. How does that feel?
There are assumptions made about what type of player that you are on the court. There's assumptions made about your knowledge of the game off the court based on what your race is.
When you're out there and you're competing, it's kind of like the last thing you want to think about is how you don't fit in. You want to enjoy and embrace where you are. And it's like you've worked so hard for this moment to go out on the mat, on the competition, and show what you got. And race should not be a barrier for that.
The sport of figure skating is so expensive. It doesn't allow people from different socioeconomic status to be able to be involved. That is why organizations like the Women's Sports Foundation really come into play.
Sport gives individuals a platform, and I believe that you have to use your platform to help make not only the sport better, but life in general better.
Especially this year with the Black Lives Matter movement, being able to speak out about racial inequality and racial injustices, it feels like I'm really able to do that and impact a lot of people.
There are a number of things that individuals can do to help support the WNBA and myself. As much as we can, we gain as much knowledge and we read about, and we don't just trust what the internet says, that we research it ourselves, as well as we vote. Voting and knowledge go hand in hand. You have to be knowledgeable about what you're voting for.
I think there are so many things that need to change within just how we talk about race.
Get involved, lean in, and most importantly, with this election, November 3rd, vote. Say something.
Welcome back to the annual salute to women in sports here on Yahoo Sports. As the show continues, you will hear from many of the people sharing messages of equality, like the ones expressed by Candace, Lori, and Michelle. We have collectively faced many challenges this year, and WSF CEO Deborah Antoine is here now to share how the foundation is helping others to overcome adversity and continue to thrive.
Thank you, Laila, and good evening, everyone. When the pandemic hit us in early spring and just about every sporting activity came to a halt, some may have wondered whether the Women's Sports Foundation would have anything at all to do. Well, I've never been prouder of my team, together with all of our volunteers, sponsors, and community partners. Because while gathering to play may have been put on hold, the needs of underserved girls has only increased. So we are working even harder to keep girls inspired and active. I am so deeply grateful for the support of our partners and people like all of you who have remained steadfast with us through one of the greatest challenges of our time. Thank you for joining us tonight and for pledging your time, support, and energy to our cause. Together, we will continue to transform the lives of girls. As CEO, I see the impact of our work every day. And as a tennis player, a mother of 3 daughters, and a grandmother of 5 little athletes, I can further attest to the limitless potential that sport can unlock. I can also relate to how important it is to have a guiding star, a mentor, and a voice of inspiration. In other words, a great coach. A great coach literally changes lives, and we need more women in coaching positions at all levels. To that end, we've established a fellowship program for aspiring female coaches to build out a pipeline to cultivate and mentor more women into the coaching field. You're about to hear the story of just one of those up-and-coming coaches, and I hope you'll be inspired to help us create even more success stories, just like this one. Take a look.
I'm very fortunate to be a fellow of the Tara Vanderveer grant.
Getting her PhD, working in a sport that she loves, giving back to her alma mater, I don't think it gets any better than that. I think that's a great example of how the fund can help someone achieve their dreams.
My name is Kelsey Tolan, and I'm the assistant volleyball coach at Cal State University, San Bernardino. I had a fantastic career at that school, and I didn't feel accomplished just yet. The experience that I had playing, I need to give back. If you can't win one playing, you might as well win one coaching.
It's a real exciting time in women's athletics, and it's a time of growth. The Women's Sports Foundation is at the forefront of our fight for opportunities for women, and I'm very happy to be a part of it.
Tara Vanderveer is one of the most decorated female basketball coaches out there.
There definitely has been a glass ceiling, and we need to shatter that glass ceiling through sports in the same way that we are through business and politics and every other field.
I'm not afraid anymore to assert myself and be proactive on these things because we're just as powerful, if not more powerful. Now I'm empowered, and now I'm going to move that on to my athletes and my players. Without the Women's Sports Foundation, without Tara and all of her advice, I wouldn't be in this national championship mindset at all. I wouldn't have won a national championship. I wouldn't be in the position that I'm in now. I eventually see myself as a Division I head coach. I feel so grateful now with this whole experience being with the Women's Sports Foundation that I've met so many phenomenal female athletes and coaches. And I feel like I can reach out to them and say, hey, what is your experience? And I think that trickles down.
Kelsey is currently pursuing her doctorate from Concordia University, Chicago, with plans to finish in the fall of 2023. You can visit thewomensportsfoundation.org for more information about the Tara Vanderveer Fund for Advancement of Women in Coaching. Now, many of us have dreams and passions in life, but how many people are willing to follow those burning desires and take a leap of faith into the unknown? This next story transcends the world of football and sports. It's about following your heart and pursuing those dreams and passions no matter what.
Be so good that you can't be denied. Don't be afraid to be great. There'll be some no's and some hardships along the way, but if you're good enough, I think we're getting to the point now where there's a spot for you. My name is Jennifer King. I'm an offensive assistant with the Washington football team. Oh man, I wanted to play so bad and I would have been really good, but my mom wouldn't let me. I was always going to football games or watching football games at home. It was just something I fell in love with at a young age. I did some of everything to be able to coach. I became a police officer for the city at High Point while I was a college basketball coach. It was almost like I was leading a double life sometimes. When I was in Carolina, I played for the Carolina Phoenix and also played for the New York Sharks and the DC Divas. I was fortunate to receive a head coaching position at Johnson & Wales University in Charlotte. Ironically, my office at Johnson & Wales University was literally right next door to the Panthers practice facility. So football, there it is again. Coach Rivera gave me an opportunity to come to the rookie minicamp. I had to use that time to let him know like what I wanted to do and that I'm next door. Then he kept inviting me back. He ultimately invited me to training camp with him. So I ended up being there for like 4 or 5 months.
I was impressed by how she carried herself. She was very confident, very positive. She really wanted to be a football coach.
Ultimately, I took that leap and just walked away from a super comfortable life and went to Arizona for the AAF and had a great time there, great experience. And then, the league folded. So I got back and kind of like, oh boy, what do I do now? Do I go back to basketball? I'm forever grateful for the Women's Sports Foundation and Scott Pioli for what they provide. I was able to essentially stay in football because of it.
She gets this job opportunity with Coach Stevens at Dartmouth, but it doesn't pay enough for her to pay her bills. So she almost can't do this. To get on the phone with her and encourage her and let her know that there's this possibility of a grant out there, and then to hear her voice on the phone, when she called to thank me and my family and the Women's Sports Foundation, it's one of those feelings that you can't really describe other than you know it and you feel it in your heart forever.
I heard from Coach Rivera and he let me know that he had a position for me.
She is a pioneer. There's a group of these young women that have become pioneers, and they're all setting the foundation for equal opportunities in coaching.
To see her do it her way, and then to be rewarded because of her hard work, her talent, and her humility. It's both heartwarming and inspiring.
I'm in good company. You know, there's some awesome women coaching football right now at this level, and it is super important for us to do a good job and to really be examples to lead that next generation.
Jennifer is the first Black female full-year coaching intern in the NFL. For more information about the Scott Pioli and Family Fund for women coaches and scouts, go to womensportsfoundation.org. Jennifer's story is groundbreaking, and our next honoree is raising the bar even higher. The Champions for Equality Award is given to someone who has shown unwavering commitment to gender equality and the advancement of girls and women in sports. Tampa Bay Buccaneers head coach Bruce Arians made NFL history by hiring 2 women to his staff. We bring in Hall of Fame broadcaster Andrea Kramer to take a look at a true champion on and off the field.
Every person has the potential to achieve outstanding things. But for women everywhere, that potential can be cut short by gender discrimination and inequity. One person who's trying to make a difference is Bruce Arians, the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. When Arians took over in 2019, he made NFL history by hiring 2 women for his coaching staff.
Bruce, for anyone that follows this path or anything they have a passion about, to find that one person who's willing to give you a chance, who's willing to sort of step out of the norm because they see something in you, it's life-changing.
Bruce Arians, 3 things come to mind when I hear his name. One is authentic, one is honorable, and empowering.
Bruce believes in hiring the best person for the job, regardless of gender. And the fact that we have 2 female coaches is really a testament to his process. And hopefully people start thinking differently about what a coach can look like.
When they go from saying yes ma'am to yes coach, in my mind that's a success, because I've taken their mind off the fact that I might look a little bit different, and now they're treating me the same way that they would treat any other coach that they've ever had.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers valuing gender equality is such an important factor, and we're doing that here at Tampa Bay.
Flag football is the fastest growing sport in the country, and it's really vital to us to highlight and inspire girls who play this game. So we host the largest flag football tournament in the nation with over 1,000 athletes and 50 teams. We also launched our Girls in Football Scholarship, and this is an academic scholarship providing support to female football players so they can pursue a career in sports.
Bruce sort of mirrors the philosophy of the Bucs and vice versa. It's very rare to me to see somebody who's just very open to acknowledging that there's potential everywhere. It's not a gender-based type of role. So this isn't something that he just started doing. This is part of his fabric.
As Michelle Obama has said, and I quote, "No country can ever truly flourish if it stifles the potential of its women and deprives itself of the contribution of half its citizens." Bruce Arians has the character and conviction to be a role model for how to champion equality, not only in sports, but in all aspects of society.
Presenting tonight's Champion for Equality Award to Coach Bruce Arians is someone who has been a beacon of equality her entire life, the founder of the Women's Sports Foundation, Billie Jean King.
I couldn't think of anyone more deserving of the Champion Equality Award than Coach Arians of the Buccaneers, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I just want to thank you so much. You're so great. I know that you could hire anybody you want, but not just one woman coach. You've actually hired 2 full-time women coaches. Tell me how that's worked out.
Oh, it's been fantastic. I mean, very, very qualified individuals. Moral and Lori are fantastic coaches. They do a great job. Our players love and respect them so much, and they've really helping us win.
Did you get any pushback or resistance hiring women?
Not at all. Our organization is so inclusive, and Darcy Glacier-Kasowicz is amazing, and the Bucks organization themselves, I think, are the front runners in handling inclusiveness and diversity on staffs and in our building, and no repercussions. It was just, let's go. If they're the best people to help you win, let's hire them.
Do you think more and more women might be hired for the NFL as time goes on? Do you think other teams are committed? I know San Francisco already is, but what about some of the other teams in the NFL?
I saw where Denver hired a full-time female strength coach, and I think it's catching on. And there's so many qualified women who are great teachers, and that's really coaching is just glorified school teachers, and
I know,
that's what we do. That's what
I
we
remember
do.
you telling me that.
And
I remember asking you, Coach, what's the most important thing as a coach, and you said teacher.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, you can know all the football in the world. If you can't teach it, it doesn't do any good. And most of the great teachers I had were female, so it's just knowing your craft. And every player in the NFL, if you can look at them and say, hey, this will make you better, they're going to listen. They don't care where it comes from.
And what advice would you give to girls and women that want to, maybe make a breakthrough in the NFL? What would you say?
I mean, same thing I told my daughter a long time ago. Anything's out there for you. All right, work hard, put your nose to the grind, and don't give up. Don't ever give up. Just keep fighting for it.
Well, Coach Arians, we're so happy. Congratulations again, and thank you for being with us. And let's keep going for it. Good luck. Keep going for it.
Thank you, and I can't say enough to you. Thank you so much. I've looked at you all my life as one of the fiercest competitors, and just love watching you play when you were playing tennis, and the great things you're doing now.
Well, thanks so much, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Coach Arians. We're at halftime here. Still ahead, a story of a young tennis phenom who is beating the odds to make a name for herself, and an award for a true pioneer in business. But first, we have a message from a very special friend of the foundation.
Good evening. The Women's Sports Foundation's 2020 Annual Salute to Women celebrates the most accomplished athletes and leaders in women's sports. And so many of these beautiful women have consistently worked really to highlight the importance of equality in sports, which is so important to all of us. I had 3 sisters growing up, and all of them were great athletes, arguably better than myself as an athlete. And I obviously learned the importance of discipline and determination. I learned that preparation equals confidence, and confidence equals anticipation. I was so lucky to learn these things firsthand from my sisters, from my parents who poured their energy and their support equally across all of their kids. So it's so important that we continue to fight for equality in sports, so all of us, and we can all send the right message to our kids. It doesn't matter who you are, where you live, where you come from, any of that. What matters most is the work you're willing to put in when no one's watching. That's been important to me. I know that's important to all of us. And I've always told my daughter, Vivi, she can do anything she wants to in this world. And I'm so thankful that the Women's Sports Foundation, all the great work that you guys have done and you'll continue to do, ensure that girls like Vivi and all girls who have dreams that they're chasing can do just that. And lastly, I want to congratulate the WSF founder, Billie Jean King, and Coach Arians, who's the 2020 recipient of the Champion for Equality Awards. Thank you, guys. Let's keep pushing forward, keep breaking new ground. Proud of you guys. Keep up the great work, and enjoy the rest of the night.
Being a female hockey player, I grew up being the only girl that I ever saw at any of the rinks.
I am female, I am black, and I am gay. Everywhere I go in life, I bring this perspective.
When I was first trying to participate in sports after transitioning from the female category to the male category, I just remember thinking that it was so incredibly hard for me to have access to sport.
There's been a lot of focus and proposed legislation around the inclusion or lack thereof of trans athletes.
I think being an athlete, we're in a unique and great position to have a platform to speak out about all different sorts of topics.
I got a message from a kid shortly after my first billboard with Nike in San Francisco. And this kid was on vacation with his parents, saw me on a billboard in the middle of the city, and messaged me to tell me what it meant for him to see me. 2 minutes later, I got a message from his mom telling me what it meant for her as a parent, have an example for what her son's life could look like.
A couple days after my wife and I got married, I publicly posted a wedding photo of us for the first time. And the feedback I received was incredible. So many people of all ages in the LGBT community reaching out to me and saying, I needed that, and thank you.
I don't want anyone to have to experience what I was experiencing at that time. I don't want anyone to have to out themselves or to struggle to explain their identity, to just try to participate with their peers.
What other people can do to support in these efforts is we can all get educated and speak up at any moment that we see injustice and a need for more inclusion.
LGBTQ plus people and trans people in specific need accomplices in this work. We need ally voices. We need straight and cisgender people to speak up and say trans rights are human rights.
I think it's pretty simple. Don't be homophobic, don't be racist, don't be sexist, and I think the world's going to be a better place.
When we move, we're better. It's when we stand still that we're in trouble. We believe that having equal opportunity to be active and to play is the way we achieve our full potential. To use sport to unlock everything you want to be and all you want to do. So that every girl and woman can realize her power. It's her time, it's our time. All girls, all women, all sports.
I'm not just here to be the token female. I'm here to help us win.
I feel like I'm a vessel at this point in order to spread awareness.
I hope that women around the world know that they can do anything.
I've definitely noticed times where women were treated differently than men in my sport.
I think after the 2015 World Cup, after we had won it, we had been so successful as a team throughout the years, and I think that, things just kind of came to a head at that point.
I've never really thought it was fair to not have the same amount of opportunities as my male counterparts to compete.
It's not just about the money, it's equality as a whole.
I tried to make my contract as close to the men's as possible because I was actually outperforming them and also had more media coverage, and I didn't think it was fair that they made more than I did.
Gender equality shouldn't be something that has to be fought for, but at the same time, we're in a situation where we need to fight for it.
I think I first got the inclination that I needed to speak out. When I got in the front seat, I realized that I am, by virtue of being a pilot, I was a leader of the sport and a leader on my team. And it was my responsibility to take the reins literally and figuratively and lead women's bobsled into the next direction.
Because it's so hard to kind of change something that's normalized and something that is just so easy, we have to work on it together. We have to be the ones to take it on because that's the position we're in.
Kicking a field goal, for example, has kind of led to many people considering if I can play for the NFL. And, it wasn't something I was expecting. I literally just went to the Eagles practice, and the competitor that I am wanted to try to kick as far as I could. I had so many people reach out to me, whether they were young girls or whether they were kicking in high school or college. I think it gave them the motivation and the confidence to be okay with trying to do it. It really speaks volumes to what I can do from sport.
I think that gender equality comes from the way people talk about women and men. It's not slighting women. It's not saying they're less than. It's not underhanded jokes or comments to your friends. It really starts from there. And once we can kind of get over that barrier, I think we can make a lot of progress in the way we're treated in society and in sports.
Good evening and welcome back to the annual salutes to women in sports here on Yahoo Sports. Sports can enhance people's lives in so many different ways. In Birmingham, Alabama, tennis transformed one young immigrant from a shy and insecure kid to an outgoing and confident young woman.
I'm Mercy and I'm in the tennis learning program.
Mercy is one of our students and she lives here in Birmingham, but she's originally from Kenya and moved here a few years ago. We focus on providing tennis and learning opportunities for youth who are underserved and may not have a chance to participate in sports. So I went to her school and we were trying to recruit players, and she had this most amazing smile you've ever seen. And I could barely hear her say her name, but she and I were partnered up and we did all the activities together.
It looked so hard. I did not think I could do that. I did not get it quickly. And Coach Susie was there. She helped me.
It wasn't until her brother came the next year and joined our program that we started seeing her more.
Well, because everybody kept telling me to do it. And so I had to give in, so I tried it.
The Women's Sports Foundation has been our community partner, and their support has really allowed us to expand our offerings in support of girls. And what we found is that the girls that we were working with had extremely low self-esteem. And so with the Women's Sports Foundation, we were able to add a life coach, Sarah, and her Coaching for Kids curriculum.
It's so nice to see them excel at something that they might not normally have the opportunity to try.
I had hit a backhand right, and then I was happy, and then I thought I could do that, so I kept going. I did not like talking to people. I like to stay by myself.
There were many days that she wouldn't sit with the full group, that she would sit aside at another table. And then eventually she started sitting with everyone else.
She started to talk to people a lot. She's coming out of her shell. I socialize better now, because everybody on the team helped me.
She's just a joy to be around. She has developed a sense of confidence in herself and in her game that sometimes takes people years to get to.
I don't like giving up. I'm better than my brother. And it's the other way around. Yeah, I'm better. When she makes me sad but happy at the same time that she's learning how to play. I like my tennis dude talking.
She has the opportunity to play for her high school team. If she chooses, she could make a college team.
I love tennis, and I hope I get to play forever.
The LET program in Birmingham is one of the many community programs supported by the WSF. Join our team of advocates. Donate by texting WSF to 91999 or learn more by visiting womensportsfoundation.org. Now, we just saw how tennis fosters resilience and can be a powerful force for change. No one exemplifies it better than the founder of the WSF and the namesake of our next award. The Billie Jean King Leadership Award honors someone whose leadership has truly broken barriers. Tonight's illustrious recipient shattered the glass ceiling in business. Ursula Burns also served on the board of the U.S. Olympic Committee, and so our Olympic gold medalist Jessica Mendoza shares her story.
In December 2009, Ursula Burns was named the chairman and CEO of the Xerox Corporation, thus making her the first African-American woman to serve as CEO of a Fortune 500 company. This historic achievement is even more impressive when Ursula's humble beginnings are considered.
I grew up in the Lower East Side of Manhattan. There was a fairly consistent lifestyle that we all lived. We were poor. I went to an engineering school, and it was very normal to be the only. women all the time, particularly women trying to get into STEM. I guarantee you, you will be the minority in the room. And instead of that being a burden, it should be an opportunity for you. I started here, and by any view and vision, I ended up at the top of some mountains. I have more money, more than my mother would have ever imagined. And I still don't judge my success by that. Not everybody's gonna end up to be the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, but if I would have stopped my progression 4 jobs ago, I would still have a great life. The story would be great, and that's why you don't give up.
Ursula, there is no doubt, her success is in part because, like many women athletes, she refuses to take no for an answer. And I think it's Ursula's humility and humanity that have been the keys to her success, just as women like Billie Jean King and so many others in the sports arena. When I consider Ursula's track record, I think she is in great company with women like Billie Jean King.
Ursula, she's been so extraordinary in how she's broken down barriers for all of us to witness and understand that how she's going to be helping so many generations of women leaders for now and for the future. And she's such a hero to me. Ursula, you're a game changer. We owe so much to you, and congratulations.
Presenting the 2020 Billie Jean King Leadership Award is last year's prestigious award winner, the co-owner of the Washington Mystics, Capitals, and Wizards, Sheila C. Johnson.
Good evening, Ursula. How are you?
Sheila, I'm great.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you here tonight. Do you think of Billie Jean King? When I bring her name up to you, what are the attributes that come to mind?
I met Billie Jean years ago, and what struck me then is what strikes me now. Incredible focus and almost this, it doesn't matter what the challenge is kind of attitude. I kind of have it under control, we can take care of it.
Now, I've heard you speak about having 3 strikes. That's race, gender, and class. Can you talk about your philosophy of turning them into home runs?
I loved being Black, and I really loved being a woman, and the combination is just amazing. I was always, from the time that I was small, really proud and pleased of like who I was and how I looked, and it was just it was a place of strength.
My mother always said, Sheila, I want you to always own your power. Just own it.
Yeah.
And I think that's really, really important. And I see that so much with this award that you're getting. You know, this is something that's very powerful. So considering that there are so few women CEOs of Fortune 500 companies and not a single one of them is Black, the odds were not on your side. So was there a moment when you realized that you could become a CEO of Xerox?
Yeah, it was well into my career at Xerox, though. When I was younger, I didn't even know what a CEO was. I'd never heard of one. You know, I grew up in a time right before internet, and I started working at Xerox. I had just the unbelievable fortune of picking this great company, or them picking me, that fit me perfectly. And I remember sitting with a guy who was my mentor, who happened to be the chairman and CEO of the company. And I remember having a conversation with him, and it wasn't about my future. It was just about the company. And I remember very distinctly saying I could do this job, the job that he had, very distinctly. I said, yeah, I could do this job. He made it very accessible. Okay. About 5 years later is when it became very clear. I had been promoted one more time, that I was definitely in the leadership ranks. And if there were 3 people around the table who had a shot at it, I was one of those 3.
So, you know, one of the famous lines of Billie Jean King was, pressure is a privilege. Mm. Can you, how do you manage under pressure? I love pressure.
Yeah, you know, part of the challenge that I have, Sheila, is that I don't know what no pressure is like.
Right.
My whole life is that way. This is from the time I was young to now. I've always been in this situation. So it's not only privilege, it is standard. And I feel very fortunate that I can deal with it kind of in a standard way.
There's thousands of young girls and women watching you tonight. And is there any lasting advice you can give any of them, especially girls of color who might think the boardroom is out of reach?
And what I say to girls is, young women, success doesn't only look like a CEO, right? That's one thing. So I say to the women behind us, it's not about whether you make it only, it's about whether we can all make it. And the only way that's going to happen is if we are unflinching in our impatience for change. Be prepared for some fundamental inequality, for some injustice. Be prepared for it, but don't settle for it.
No, thank you and congratulations.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much.
We're heading down the home stretch here. When we come back, 50 years ago, they risked it all to fight for what was right. Now they reunite as the call for pay equity has never been louder. Natalie Portman shares a story of the original 9.
The award-winning Fantasy Football Live is back for its 15th season, every Sunday morning at 11:30 a.m. Eastern.
Have you always wanted to watch sports on your cell phone? Highlights.
And what a great play!
Headlines. You already got it all, records and everything.
No, I gotta win at least 7. Tom has 6.
And guest stars.
You watching The Rush.
Yahoo has you covered every day.
People are largely unaware of so many of the struggles that people with disabilities face.
My parents, they were always trying to find programs for me to do. I looked to able-bodied programs because then I would have more playing opportunities. And then it was hard because they didn't want me because of my disability. They don't really tell you the real reasons why. They just make up some stuff because they just don't want you.
There's been multiple times I've experienced those moments where I've realized the unfairness a Paralympic athlete or adapted athlete will have in equal opportunities and rights to be a part of a sport.
When I traveled internationally for the first time, and I quickly realized how lucky I was to have my own wheelchair and my own basketball chair. People with disabilities aren't necessarily aware that they can play.
It felt good to compete with the other kids out there. I felt like everybody else.
Every single Paralympic athlete or adapted athlete needs to work twice as hard to prove themselves.
Ableism really projects these ideas of, whose bodies are valuable and desirable and important. We have to change the narrative of how we see people with disabilities.
They're not seeing us as rowers, they're not seeing us as athletes, they're seeing us as people who have no limbs, as people who are in wheelchairs, as people who are just doing it for the feel-good side of it, and that wasn't why I was doing sport. I wanted to compete and race and push myself.
What drives me to advocate for accessibility is the firm belief of the Women's Sports Foundation that all women, all girls, should be able to play all sports.
I think the first step is for everyone to speak up and voice their opinions.
Everyone can be an ally and an advocate. If you see something wrong, if you see an inequality, speak up.
Follow and support the Women's Sports Foundation and take part in the Equity Project pledge they have.
Really hope that people support and watch Paralympic sport.
Seeing is believing. When you see something, you believe it's possible.
People of all walks of life have the right to play and have the right to participate in sport, and that should be barrier-free, especially for people with disabilities.
Welcome back to the annual salute to women in sports. These wonderful athletes and fans are sending their love and spirit from the virtual set here at Yahoo Studios. Earlier this year, Oscar-winning actress Natalie Portman made headlines when she joined forces with Julie Foudy, Mia Hamm, and other athletes and celebrities to launch Angel City, the new women's soccer club in my hometown of LA. This new collective reminds us of another group of powerful women whose story began 50 years ago.
Earlier this year, tennis star Naomi Osaka became the highest paid female athlete in the world. Her on-court success, humble demeanor, and multicultural heritage have made her wildly popular and marketable. Osaka's earnings today can be traced back 50 years to a group of women who had the courage to demand more for themselves, for their contemporaries, and for those who would follow, and did it for $1, the original 9.
this was going to work, and that with a $1 contract, you could change the course of history.
The success of the original 9, the Virginia Slim Circuit, and the WTA hasn't just meant exponential growth for tennis. You can draw a line from their defiance to the passage of Title IX in 1972 to the subsequent explosion in women's sports participation, not just as athletes, but as coaches, administrators, and team owners. It's because of these brave trailblazers that somebody like me had a path to follow into another chapter of history. I'm proud to be part of the first women-led investor and ownership group in professional sports with the forming of Angel City FC, the new Los Angeles NWSL soccer team debuting in 2022. Over time, and through the incredible efforts of contemporaries like Venus Williams, pay equity expanded. Today, all 4 Grand Slams have equal prize money for women and men. This year, Naomi Osaka earned $3 million as champion of the US Open, played at the USTA Billie Jean King National Tennis Center. Just imagine, it all started with $9 to 9 incredible women.
The original 9's greatest achievements were birthed from great adversity. Whether we're fighting the same fight Billie Jean King faced 50 years ago or a new one today, we have the opportunity to shape the future with our voice, with our actions, and with our vote. Thank you to the athletes, sponsors, and all of you at home who made a donation via text and at womensportsfoundation.org. The auction will continue through October 22nd, so get your bids in now. It's been a very special night. Stay strong, keep playing, and speak with sport.
We're all human beings and we care about a lot of things, and it's important to speak out using your voice for good and making a difference.
Sport gives individuals a platform, and you have to use your platform to help make not only the sport better, but life in general better.
I'm going to use that platform to talk about issues that directly impact me as a gay Black woman.
Trans rights are human rights. I have to do what I do because there are young people involved. That is why I speak with sport.
I speak with purpose,
compassion, pride.
I speak with equality,
with my heart,
with my head held high,
to fight for accessibility.
I speak for those who couldn't.
I speak for those who will. Who will.
Who will.
Now I think we're at a place where we're using our voices to speak what our heart wants to say.
It's up to me and the rest of my teammates to continue to just fight for what's right.
To go all in and reach my highest potential in life.
Let's keep pushing forward, keep breaking new ground.
Equality can't wait. Together, we can ignite a movement that transcends sports. Let's stop chasing equality and start living it fully.
That is why I
speak with sport.